Welcome everybody to the USO MVP Entertainment Series. I'm Chris Jacobs. Thank you very much for joining us. And more importantly, thank you very much for your service. We hope that you are all staying safe out there in the world, wherever you may be. I am pleased to introduce my next guest. If you're a fan of R&B, you definitely know her work. The extremely talented singer, songwriter, actress, the one and only JoJo. JoJo, welcome.
Thank you. Hey.
See you.
Good to see you too.
How are you doing? How are you keeping busy during lockdown?
I haven't plunged into the depths of Netflix yet. I've actually been pretty busy because I just released an album last week. It's called Good to Know. And so I've been talking to a lot of people around the world and talking about the album. So I'm thankful that I've had that to kind of keep my mind occupied, you know?
Well, first of all, I should say congratulations on your album, Good to Know, debuting at #1 on the Billboard R&B chart.
Thank you.
That's such a great accomplishment. How did you feel when you found that out?
I felt friggin' excited, you know what I mean? I don't know what to say other than that. I put out my first album when I was 13 years old, so I just feel very lucky to live this life, you know? I get to do something that I really love, and that has been like my main source of joy since I was a little girl. So I just feel, yeah, very friggin' lucky.
That's cool. And you know, I mean, you say that you had your first album at that age, but really you've been pretty much a professional singer since you were, what, 6 years old? Didn't you receive an offer of a record contract when you were a very young girl?
Yeah, I've been singing since as long as I can remember. And I was such a strong-willed little girl that I actually sang my way backstage at like this summer jam type of concert. I'm from Boston, so this radio station called Kiss 108, and Britney Spears was performing at the time. She had to have been like 19 years old, and I sang my way backstage when I was like 8 or 9 or something, and ended up getting offered a production deal from her and her company. Very strange. I didn't end up going with it, but 4 years later, when I was 12, that's when I signed my first deal. So
I want to remind everybody that they can ask JoJo a question if they would like by using the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And if you would like to ask JoJo that question live, please include the word live at the end of your question that you type out. We'll try to
Hi everybody, by the way. Hi everybody virtually. What's up? I wish I could see everybody. I'm just getting a hold of this Zoom thing. I hope everybody's staying sane, and you know, I hope you have everything you need. I'm thinking of you. Thank you so much for being here.
As well said. I'm
Getting
sure
together
there's a lot of your fans watching us right now. You know, I am one of your new followers on Instagram, one of the 1.8 million followers you have on Instagram. And as I was scrolling through your feed, I noticed the picture of you and your mom that you posted for Mother's Day. And your mom is such a huge influence in your life. When I was doing a little bit of research about you, I read that she was actually a singer in the choir, and that's kind of how you would practice. You'd hear her doing her scales and you would sing right along with her. Tell us about that.
You know, if my mom wasn't out on a hike right now, because she is staying with me right now, if she wasn't out on a hike, she would have come in and been like, I was not in the choir, I was the soloist. So she has an amazing voice, very strong soprano, and I grew up wanting to emulate her, and then other singers that I heard, but she was definitely my first inspiration. And our relationship is very special. It's evolved so much over the years, and it's really interesting now that we're, you know, sheltering in place together, in that she's in my home, and now that we're grown women, it's just interesting cohabitating together under different conditions. But it's actually much better than I think either of us could have anticipated.
JoJo, let's get to our first question from one of our service members out there, and they're going to be joining us live. This question is coming from Terry Meredith. Terry, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you are. Hi, Terry. How you doing today?
Hi, I am amazing. How are you?
Hey, Terry. Oh, you're so
Hey, girl.
cute. Hey. You
Where
can
where are
see-
you
Yes,
where are
I
you
can see
zooming
you.
in from, Terry?
I'm in, oh my gosh, can't believe I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee at Fort Campbell.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much for your service. And do you have a question for JoJo?
I do, JoJo, I think you're amazing. And I think you have so much self-confidence that I see in you. So I'm curious as to how I can improve my self-confidence. Any tips that you may have?
You are you're such a light. I just really, you're so friggin' sweet. I don't know why I feel so compelled to just say that, but like, I really, your energy is coming through this Zoom. And I just want to say that what you do requires so much more bravery, discipline, commitment, and you should just feel, go ahead.
My husband is the service member. I'm the spouse. So I just want to
Hold on. The sacrifice of the families and the spouses that are also involved in this cannot be understated. Like, that takes so much. You are a strong, wonderful woman to, you know, to be a part of this as well, for real. So how would I mean, tips for self-confidence, I would say maybe hold yourself accountable to, like, make a list of things that you need to do for the day and then check them off. Celebrate your little victories. And then I think that that's a good, you know, celebrating those little victories is a good way that will set your day up for success, even if it's like the ritual of making your bed. I think that when you honor that commitment, I do, and obviously the, you know, militaries, that's a very important tenet. And I think that's something my dad taught me because he was in the Navy. But that is, you can start to feel good about yourself with that. And your beauty is skin deep and it's all relative, but like, we have to find one thing about ourselves that we can be like, I love that. I love my cheekbones, or I love, you know, when I do this, or I love, you know, my shoulders, or whatever it is. Like, find that thing and magnify that. You got it, yo. I know you got it.
Thank you so much. I can relate with the bed making. I've done that recently, and even just doing that, it's made me feel better.
I know, like, we have to help ourselves feel better, and like on that road to self-love and confidence, like just do the things you know are going to make you feel better. Even if, take care of your needs first and then your wants later. You got to make your bed. You got to, like, get your heart rate up. You got to take care of yourself and your family. And yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your question, and thank you for being a military spouse. We really appreciate you. And JoJo, that was great advice to her. And Alan Reyes is checking in to say thank you to JoJo for recognizing the heroism of our military spouses. So
seriously,
well done on, yeah, I mean, it takes a village, right?
Yes.
JoJo, where do you draw your self-confidence from, would you say? I mean, are you the kind of person who looks at every glass as half full and you really kind of celebrate those smaller accomplishments? Because you've had such large accomplishments in your career. Do you draw inspiration from your smaller accomplishments, those day-to-day accomplishments?
I have to, because I think since I started out my career so young, and I had my first #1 at 13 years old, I was used to that dopamine hit of, you know, of external validation and of big adulation. And that can be a very alluring and intoxicating feeling. So I had to kind of train myself away from just those big hits, those big things, and find a way to, like, really find joy and success in every day. So it's a practice for me, and I have to humble myself, and I have to really kind of shift my perspective away from feeling like any type of expectation or anything that is, you know, owed to me. None of that. Like, we're really fortunate to have, I feel very fortunate to have, I try to celebrate the little things that I do have, is what I'm saying.
Victoria Bogue, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She would like to know, what was your favorite movie you've been a part of? Because in addition to all the success you've had as a singer-songwriter, you're quite an accomplished actress as well. So what was your favorite movie that you were in?
I had the opportunity to play Robin Williams' daughter in a movie called RV. And that was an experience that I'll never forget, because just seeing his work ethic and seeing how he was the first person to arrive on set and the last to leave, and he always had fresh ideas, and he invested in people. He really cared. He made us feel like he really was listening. And so to get to see a master at work close up is something that I feel very fortunate.
Yeah. And that must have been an amazing experience. And of course, rest in peace, Robin Williams. He was an incredible talent. Olivia Johnson wants to know, well, she wants you to know that her very first concert was seeing you at Fort Bragg almost 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
I know that you've performed at several military bases around the world. How fulfilling is that to perform for the troops? And what's your most memorable moment of performing for the troops?
It is amazing. And it's such I wouldn't say culture shock, but it is a fascinating education for me on what life is like at these, for different people having different experiences. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't have even conceived of what it's like to be living at a military base. And it makes me feel really cool that I can somehow lend my services and maybe entertain, you know what I mean? I know my dad would be really proud of me, and my grandparents who aren't here anymore, but that makes me feel good. My most memorable was probably I got to tour and perform at some bases in Japan a couple of years ago, and that was just really special. It was like so interesting also to see the culture of the outside city. Let's say I was in Yokohama. I think, is that the name of a place? I think that's one of the places we went to.
I believe so. Yes.
In this place, but then you go to the military base and you're like in a mini America. There's all these fast food chains that I recognize and different, things at the store. It was just fascinating, really interesting.
It is. Well, I mean, essentially you are in a little piece of America.
Exactly.
There. I was in Saudi Arabia last November, and we went to go visit one of the bases out there. And, as soon as you get onto the base, you are in America.
Yes.
Let's go back to another live question, JoJo. This is Victor Sellers, who first of all left a comment that said, "Go Navy." So we know that she's in. Victor, are you with us?
Hey, how you doing?
There he is. Hey, Victor, welcome.
Hey, Victor.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you very much for your service, Victor. Do you have a question for JoJo?
Yeah, I mean, first off, JoJo, you look amazing. So let you know.
Thank you.
My friend, she saw it. She's like, "Wow, she's so pretty." Yeah. As I said, I'm in the Navy, and I do a lot of tours overseas. So right now I'm in Stuttgart, Germany. I just want to know, what was your favorite place to perform internationally?
Again, thank you for your service. And I see, is that some Chinese writing behind you?
It's Japanese. I got some Japanese writing on my wall.
Forgive me, I don't know my characters.
Okay. Yeah,
okay,
I was just in Yokosuka, Japan. So I did
yes.
tours out there. I'm headed back at the end of the year also. I love Japan. That's my favorite place.
Oh, and you're in Germany now, you said?
Yes, I am.
I love Germany, and there's a few dates on my tour that we've postponed that will be in Germany. So
okay.
I'm looking forward to going back there.
I'll have to look
My favorite place that I performed, I'm gonna sound like I'm avoiding the question because I don't want to say my favorite, but I'm gonna keep it real because there is something special about every single place that I get the opportunity to perform, whether that's I even performed in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or North Dakota.
Okay.
One of the Dakotas, and I would have
right.
never thought that I would have had a really exciting show there, and yet I did. I'm always my expectations are always rocked. You know what I'm saying? So it's I guess, but it is really moving to be in a place where like the first language is not English and have people sing your lyrics back to you. So that was, I remember the first time that I really felt that. I went to Brazil and I was like 16 or 17 and they were singing like deep cuts from my album and I was like, this is trippy, you know?
That comeback song is amazing too. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just watched that video today too. That's a very, very entertaining song.
Entertaining. You know, it's funny, fun fact, I filmed it right here. I filmed the music video on that table and right on this wall. And we're making it work in quarantine.
Oh, we're getting some context there. Victor, I've got a question for you. You said you're in Stuttgart, Germany?
Yes, sir.
I'm a huge Porsche guy. Have you had a chance to visit the Porsche Museum?
I have. I went
I'm so jealous. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's really nice. There's a whole lot of nice cars, Porsche, Bosch, Mercedes, you know it, so.
I feel like I haven't even driven because I haven't got to drive on the Autobahn. And that's like, that's how you got to experience a car, I guess. So one day.
Definitely.
Victor, thank you so much for joining us here on the USO MVP Entertainment Series. We appreciate your question, and even more so, we appreciate your service, man. Stay safe in Germany over there.
Thank you.
So, JoJo, tell us a little bit more, since we were talking about Comeback, and of course, that is off of the album Good to Know. How much work went into that? And then you released it during the quarantine. Was that a little surreal to release an album during this time? Do you think it hurt or helped with the reception of the album?
Surreal is the perfect word to explain how it felt. I think a lot of us are feeling this surreality and this like adjustment, having to stay flexible and but as far as hurting or helping, I don't think of it in that term. I'm really glad that we didn't push back the release of this project because I was writing the album from a place of like wanting to escape myself and wanting to distract. And I know a lot of people are probably feeling that they'd like a distraction right now, and music can do that. So the reception of it has been really amazing. My fans are always so off the chain and passionate and awesome. So it's been great, and I was just looking forward, obviously, to getting out there and touring, but I would never want to put anybody in harm's way. So we're not going to be gathering in close quarters anytime soon.
What do you think touring and live performances are going to be like post-COVID? Because there will be a time when society returns to somewhat normal circumstances. How do you envision that happening with live performing?
It's kind of hard to envision it right now because we're still so far from, at least here in California, which is where I'm talking to you from. I mean, people are really, really distant from one another physically. So I think that we're gonna have to get creative and find ways to perform virtually. And then when it comes to touring, when it comes to like, you know, festivals, I know a lot of people were so excited for Coachella and Stagecoach and all these South by. I think people will be really eager to gather again, to have that community. And we need it as human beings. We need other people. So I'm hoping that we can find a way to do it safely, but your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's hope that's sooner than later also.
Yeah.
Let's go to another live question from someone viewing out there in the Zoom world. This is coming from Kendra Cunningham. Kendra, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you are. Start off by telling us where you are right now and what branch do you serve in?
Hi, I'm in Wiesbaden, Germany, and I'm in the Army.
Hi, Kendra. Thank you
very much for your service, Kendra. We really appreciate it. What's your question for JoJo?
Hi, JoJo. I'm also from Massachusetts. I'm from
Hey!
super close to Foxborough.
Wait, where are you from?
Medfield.
Yeah, Medfield. Okay, cool.
So I was just wondering what you miss the most about living in New England.
Oh, let's see. I miss the foliage. I miss the accents. I miss Friendlies. I don't even know if Friendlies is still open. You
That was
remember
my
Friendlies,
first
right?
job. I worked at Friendlies as my first job in Medfield.
Oh my God. Yo, I was in a parking lot of Friendlies when I heard myself on the radio for the first time. So Friendlies is like linked in my mind. But I want to know from you, what do you miss most about New England?
Well, I miss my mom the most, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, the leaves in the fall and the beach, Cape Cod.
Ah, yeah, for sure.
That's
I feel you.
lovely.
I miss good seafood too. I mean, I live in LA and it's different. It's just different.
Yeah, and the lobster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that seafood quite like you do in Boston. The lobster. There's a little Boston
Chowder, the
accent.
lobster.
If you're
Yeah,
missing
you
that.
gotta
It's
have
funny.
clam
We had
chowder.
Eliza Schlesinger on the webcast a few weeks ago, and she was talking about having to prepare a Boston accent for a movie that she did with Mark Wahlberg. So that was a pretty funny discussion.
Ooh.
Very distinct accent there in the Northeast.
Yeah, I mean, people can get it right and they can get it real wrong, and we judge. So.
Kendra, thank you so much for your question, and thank you for joining us here. We have a very special treat right now. JoJo is actually going to perform one of the two songs that she's going to be performing today. JoJo, what's the first song that you have for us? And I know that you're going to be accompanied by your guitarist. Please introduce her.
This is the legendary Jinju Lee, my baby girl. And we are going to do a song called Small Things, which is off the new album, Good to Know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Heard your name just as I was heading home the other day, and I swear I couldn't even sit up straight. Swallowed hard. I found a shirt cleaning my apartment and I made it worse. And I swear you couldn't even see the hurt. Swallowed hard. And when my friends ask how I'm doing, I say I'm great now, but the truth is I'm getting good at holding it in. All my emotions, all my feelings, but the more that I fight them, the bigger they seem. What really gets me is all the small things. I saw you go, wasn't you before me? I thought it was. I swear to God, I almost didn't think it was. Swallowed hard. And when my friends ask how I'm doing, I say I'm great now, but the truth is I'm getting good at holding it in. All my emotions, all my feelings, but the more that I fight it, bigger they seem. What really kills me, yeah, ooh, it's all the small things. Ooh, ooh. This city has your fingerprints all over it, and I can't even think about someday she will too. And I know I'll get over it. That's just what I do. But what really gets me is everything you got used to. And I've been open Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening.
Let me unmute myself there so I can say, wow, that was fantastic. And Jin Julie, beautiful playing back there. That was amazing.
Jinju.
Very well done, Jinju. You know, in this kind of modern environment, and I'm not just talking about the lockdown, I'm talking about the more accessibility that you have to your fans. You know, I mentioned you have 1.8 million Instagram followers. You've put out mixtapes directly to the public without having to go through corporate music. Do you see that continuing as a trend? I mean, you have such direct access to your fan base through social media. Do you think that's going to be really the future of releasing music, or do you think that the corporate music world will continue to be as strong as it has been?
No, I mean, there's an evolution. Everything is going to continue to shift and evolve. And I think that as fans, we are demanding more content. We want more authenticity. And I think that artists are being empowered directly to, you know, we don't need a middleman. There is still a case to be made for, you know, what labels can do and what you can do independent. And I'm somewhere in between. I have a partnership with Warner. I have my own label, Clover Music, which is distributed through Warner. But there are no rules. And I think that that's what's cool about being in music in 2020. It's putting more power in the hands of the creatives.
Yeah, I think technology has really allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about shooting the latest video right there in your own home, and you know, putting the music out directly. I mean, your performance right there, you know, that's what people want to hear. They want to see the real artist and feel the kind of the grassroots personality of the person. I think you convey that so well to all of your fans. And let's get to another live question right now. This one is coming from Andrea Holmes. Andrea, can you hear us?
I think I pressed the right button.
Yes, you did. We can hear you. Hi, Andrea.
Hey, Andrea.
Where are you and what branch of the military are you serving in?
So I'm here in Wiesbaden and I'm in the Army. Hold on.
Thank
so,
you.
The boss president, I don't know if anyone knows about it, but just letting you know, we've got it here. JoJo, oh my goodness. This is like surreal for me. So growing up, I've been listening to you and I just you're one of my inspirations and you're one of the reasons I sing. I love your sound, everything that you do.
Wow. Thank you,
and
Andrea.
Yeah. And then my question is, so you were talking about evolution, and I noticed that there's definitely an evolution between the first album that I've heard and then your recent album. And then I watched the documentary where you talked about how your record label, you had songs that no one was hearing. So what is the evolution and what's the inspiration for this album?
My evolution, I feel so silly talking about it like that, my evolution, but like musically and who I am as a woman, they've kind of just gone on a parallel track, you know? And I tend to write from where I'm at. And like you said, yeah, there was music that wasn't able to be heard because I was like in this situation where I didn't own my voice and I had to sue my record label. So I think that maybe it wouldn't seem like such a departure from my first album up to this one if I was able to release music that whole time, but whatever, it is what it is. It's all good. I've always been super influenced by R&B and hip hop, and this album is just a return to that root, I suppose, for me. So
It works for you.
It feels great, and I love that people are digging it and making it their own, because I can obsess over, you know, making something perfect, but at the end of the day, it just needs to be out there. So I'm glad that it is.
Andrea, thank you so much for your question, and more importantly, thank you for your service. You keep safe
Thank
out
you,
there.
Andrea.
I love your T-shirt. Very cool. That's really great. JoJo, talk a little bit more about your process of songwriting. is it an idea that hits you? Do you start with the music? Do you start with the lyrics? Do you start with the chorus or the verse? What's your process?
It comes all different types of ways. And I have a lot of great collaborators, like people who will start out with the track, and then maybe that progression or a certain sound in the track will inspire a certain feeling in me, and then I'll be like, oh, you know what, this reminds me of something I'm going through, or this makes me think of this story my girlfriend told me that I think is really juicy and I want to write about, or whatever it is. But I have like a working note section in my phone where I have ideas or phrases that I want to use, and voice notes of melodies. But sometimes I'll come to the studio and I'll just try to stay open. So if I'm working with another writer, we'll just start from a conversation, and then we'll see where that conversation takes us and be like, oh, you know what? The song is in that.
Yeah, well, again, I mentioned that I had watched Comeback this morning, and what a great song. But obviously comes from a very personal place. You know, the lyrics are something that I think everybody can relate to if they've been through a breakup and then had a reconnection, so to speak.
Woo!
So that was a very enjoyable song.
Love that dramatic reconnecting. I don't know,
Yes.
It's fun. So it was just.
There's going to be a lot of that happening once the quarantine is lifted. I have a feeling.
For real. That's why I was like, this is the right timing for Comeback, because I know a lot of people are anxious to, they're socially distancing. They don't have someone that they're, in quarantine with, and I know a lot of people are anxious for that moment.
Yeah. All right, JoJo, before we get to your second live performance of our webinar, let's get to one more live question. And this one is coming from An Tran. An, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello. Got to unmute yourself, An, if you can hear me. There we go. How you doing? Oh, we get to see your dog too.
Oh.
How are you doing today? Where are you, and what branch do you serve in?
I'm good. I'm in Landstuhl, Germany, and my husband's in the army.
Thank you very much for being a hardworking military spouse. We appreciate you as much as your husband's service. Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is, what have you been doing during quarantine? Did you find any new hobbies?
I've been cooking so much, cooking every night and baking and dropping things off at my friend's house and just be like, I love you, I'm thinking of you. I realized it's my love language, is making things. And I've been learning piano, like taking virtual lessons, and oh, your dog loves you.
Yeah, she's always want attention.
Looks like she and I have the same hair texture. Very thick, blonde. Yeah, so that's been it. And I have been, been being a dog mom to my dog as well.
So what kind of dog do you have?
She's a terrier mix, and she has a cone on her head right now because she got a little injury on her butt and would try to bite at it, so we can't have that.
Yeah. An, we appreciate your question. Thank you so much for joining us here on the USO MVP Entertainment Series. You stay safe out there in Germany, okay?
Thank you. You
Lots
too.
of Germany here.
Bye.
Hey, JoJo, you mentioned that you are learning how to play piano. Is that something that you plan on incorporating in your live act eventually? Will you be playing piano live on stage?
Yeah, I'm anxious. I want to do it now, but I'm not good enough yet. So I need to chill out, because I get really excited and I'm like, no, I'm not, I gotta do it. No, I can't play myself yet. So yeah, but by the time I'm back on tour, who knows what that'll be, yeah, I'll be playing.
Cool. Well, I play piano too, and that's something I've been doing a lot during quarantine. So it's been a great opportunity to kind of,
Is that your record collection behind you, by the way?
That is, that's my vinyl collection, yeah.
Ooh,
Rock and roll and jazz, and yeah, my friends and I do what we call vinyl nights, where we crack a bunch of wine open and spin records. Yeah.
Ooh.
We get a lot of play. I'm old school, so I definitely love the wax.
That's nice.
Cool. Hey, so treat us all, won't you, to another song off of your new album. Tell us what the name of it is.
My darling.
For welcoming back Jinju again. Thank you.
This is my first single off of Good to Know, and it's a song called Man. And the title is a little deceptive, I guess, because it's not about needing a man or wanting a man. And we love men. This is not anything. It's just what the song is more so about is being comfortable on your own and knowing your own worth and realizing that if you're gonna partner up with somebody, they're gonna need to be really awesome, period.
Well, with that being said, I will mute myself. Ladies, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. You know me, I just don't stop. I've been down, but I'm back up. No, they all had a little crush. Now they all want a little love. See, I've been getting comfortable on my own. I'm loving it, I can handle it. So if I'm gonna love someone, well, damn, I'm gonna need myself a man. Someone who want me like a man. I need somebody who can love me like I love me like I can. Yeah, damn, I'm gonna need myself a man. He ride for me like he stand. I need somebody who can love me like I love me like I can. I've been looking, but he's so rare. Yeah, I know that he out there. But who gon' step up to the plate? Yeah. Cause I ain't about the game, yeah. I've been getting comfortable on my own and shit. I'm loving it, I can handle it, yeah. So if I'm gonna love someone, well then, I'm gonna need myself a man. Someone who want me like a man. I need somebody who can love me like who gonna love me like I can, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna need myself a man. He ride for me like he said, yeah. This is only for me. Yeah, who can love me like I love me like I can. Yeah, yeah. Well, damn, yeah. I'm gonna need myself a man, someone who loves me. Yeah, yeah. Said I need. Who gon' love me like I can? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
I am applauding on behalf of everybody who is watching because I'm sure they're doing the same thing. JoJo, that was wonderful.
Thank you. From my living room
And
to
live
your camera.
And Jinju, wonderful job again on the 6th string. Love that.
Thank you.
And I love the simplicity of it, and you just have this charisma that comes right through the camera. I felt like you were singing just to me, so that was really, really nice. JoJo can be found on Instagram at I am JoJo. Join her legion of nearly 2 million followers if you haven't already. And JoJo, I want to personally thank you for joining us here on the USO MVP Entertainment Series. And before I let you go, I would like to offer you the floor so you can give a word of encouragement to all of our servicemen and women watching right now. So JoJo, take it away.
I don't know where this emotion just overcame me. I thank you so much to every single person who is seeing this right now. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery, for your sacrifice, whether you are serving actively or whether you are supporting someone who is of service. Thank you so much. Every single job in every branch of the armed forces is so incredibly important. My dad was a cook in the Navy, and that is such an important job. You know, people who are answering phones and making, you know, just keeping life going. Thank you for ensuring our safety and our freedom. I feel very honored to even have this direct line to you right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's all I can say is thank you. I feel really emotional, and I have a lot of family that are in the armed forces, and this is just an honor. Thank you.
Well, that thanks is going right back to you, JoJo. And it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Good luck with your career and continued success. And again, congratulations on Good to Know debuting at #1 on the Billboard R&B charts. What an accomplishment.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to all of our servicemen and women for joining us today. And please check back with your local USO center for future MVP event information.
Yeah,
Take
thanks
care,
for
everybody.
having me, guys. Everybody stay safe, stay sane. Thank you.
Thanks, JoJo.